Hello, good evening. Welcome to Gut Feel. One of the things that I quite dislike about the Democrats is their eagerness to accommodate and appease illegal immigrants. It makes it very difficult for me to vote for them. And if the elections are already over, as is the case now, it makes it very easy for me to regret having voted for them. A Democrat in the White House, in any case, ushers in the season of freebies, especially for the wantonly homeless, the trams, the drug addicts, and generally for all the seedy people in the country. But for the illegal immigrant community in particular, it is the time when long pending divine boons are granted, doled out by hands in velvet gloves. Yes, for sure, I think we have to treat illegal immigrants with fairness and humanity. I am not against that at all. But for the life of me, I am not able to understand the tearing need and urgency to directly grant them a straight path to citizenship. Many states in the US already allow illegal immigrants to get driving licenses and medical care. The latter is free or subsidized or paid for ultimately by the taxes borne by legal citizens and immigrants. This becomes particularly unfair when you see the numbers of qualified, skilled, tax paying, and legal immigrants languishing in the various pits and falls of a broken immigration system. My own path to citizenship was a relatively simple one. My wife and I were lucky. We had to hold our breath at a few turns on the path, but fortunately, nothing major happened to derail that process. But it took me all of 9 years. Today, Joe Biden is offering illegal immigrants a path to citizenship in 8 years. I have friends and colleagues who have been waiting for much more time than that, even after crossing the last bumps on the road. For some, it may take a decade of or more of waiting. For some, it may get rejected after decades of waiting. And above all is the terrifying thought that it may never come through at all, and you will spend the rest of your life living in limbo, eligible but never entitled. And I can vouch that you can lose a lot of sleep over it every night of the journey and through the waiting when really nothing seems to be moving. I used to check my green card application status online every day, sometimes multiple times a day, hoping that the awaited miracle would happen. The process is differently applied in different service centers and driven as much by the officials and their propensities than by the rules. There have been instances where the same application for a visa has been rejected in one service center and approved in another. Similar experiences abound on the internet. My colleague, who is highly skilled, qualified, and experienced, was told that he should apply for a green card under a different category for highly skilled workers. He did. Well, all of us lesser mortals got our green cards, while he had to wait years and years for his. And due to certain technicalities in that process, he ended up not being able to leave the country for years, not even to visit his aged parents back home in India. Our lawmakers have known for decades that the system is broken, but they lack the bipartisan honesty to rectify it. Various administrations have attempted to do something about it, but these efforts have been so half hearted, so beset with personal prejudices, political ambitions, and party ideologies that they have been doomed to fail from the start itself. The political pendulum, like in most issues in this country, swings from one extreme to the other every 4 or 8 years, depending on which party occupies the White House. Donald Trump was one extreme, lacking in all empathy, wanting to block all immigration under the populist pretext of protecting American jobs, willing to separate children from their parents, and not even keep proper records when doing that. His jingoist His jingoistic America First policy in immigration has caused more harm than good. Today, the pendulum has swung to the other end, with Biden wanting to just give away the store to illegal immigrants. Election year is usually when there are grandiose shows put on as if they are going to improve and ease immigration rules. At least Biden has started the attempt at the beginning of his term. But if I know how things work in Congress, this will be dragged like dead weight till the midterm elections next year and then tossed around like a football till that too is over. I understand that there are strong and valid arguments favoring the regularization of undocumented immigrants, both humanitarian and practical. Many of them come from war torn countries seeking asylum and refuge. Many come to the US to escape the wretched poverty of their existence, and many come lured by the opportunities afforded by the shining country. Most of them work very hard, especially in the fields where local legal labor is not available. They are exploited, harassed, paid less than what they should get, when often they are actually doing work that the country needs and which other countrymen are unwilling to do. Many of them have lived in this country for years on end, hiding in the dark shadows with disease and hunger and the fear of discovery and deportation haunting them day and night. You really need to have a heart made of stone to not feel moved by the tragic and harrowing life stories. But they are all illegal, and they have come here by scaling some kind of wall, physical or otherwise. There is no escaping that fact. We don't need to punish them, but illegal behavior cannot be rewarded either. Having illegal immigrants in a country is like having a parallel economy but of human beings. Unsavory things happen in the dark where it operates. Much of it out of necessity, I agree. One needs to bring them out into the light, that much is certain. But it is not to be done at the expense of those who have come here legally by going through the process. You cannot punish the legal to compensate the illegal. Why can't we set up a separate visa category for such immigrants which gives them the right to work and live their lives with dignity out in the open? Provided, of course, that they are not and do not become criminals. Let them get the same terms and conditions as other work visa holders. They can pay taxes, their children, if born here, will become citizens by law, but they themselves can never be granted that privilege. The politicians should not be able to use them as a vote bank, and they cannot be allowed to vote for the politicians who made them legal. What essentially is going to happen now is that 11 million applicants are going to be pushed ahead in the queue, ahead of the other long suffering millions of applicants who have gone through the grind, paid their taxes, contributed their skills and hard work to the country, only to be forced further and further back in the line. That is just not unfair. That is like being tortured because you stood your turn in the line correctly. Progress on Trump's Great Wall was in any way questionable. With Biden already stopping the funds for whatever little work was being done on the wall, it is now open season for gate crashing into this country. So, illegal immigrants, the United States of America is now ready to receive you. Welcome one, welcome all. But that is only as long as you don't have a valid visa. Thank you and see you soon.